Okay, this is how I do the urban mushing. First, you need a bike. I use a mountain bike. Cruisers are kind of big and bulky, and then road bikes are a little bit too skinny, lightweight. They don't do so well on the dirt, so I really like a mountain bike. If it has a good spot here, this is where the line's going to attach through right here, so you want to make sure you have a pretty decent gap there. Some bikes, this top part and this bottom part come together pretty close, so you don't have as good of a spot there, but you still want to wrap the line around that part. You definitely don't want to wrap it around the handlebars, because otherwise when the dog pulls it can turn the handlebars and it turns the bike, and that's really bad. Okay, there, make sure you wear a helmet and make sure tires are pumped up, have a good bike pump, and then chain lube really helps keep the chain clean and everything running smoothly. I use a line that I ordered from Alpine Outfitters. I'll put the link for that down below. It comes with this piece here, which is called a post connector, and that's the part that actually wraps around the head tube on the bike. And then you get a line here. I have a double scooter line. You can get a single one, but I have a double one because I have 2 dogs. You can also use it to run one dog. You just connect both those end pieces to the same harness, and then you can run one dog. This line is really great because it actually has a shock section right here that's stretchy. Can't really stretch it with one hand, but it's stretchy. And then I made a line protector here. The Alpine Outfitters has a specific one called the scooter noodle that they sell for I think like $20. This costs less than $1. It's just a piece of PVC. I drilled a hole through one side there, stuck a rope through it, and I'll show you in a second how to attach that, but it's really helpful. You can tell from all the scuff marks on it where the tire hits it. Anytime the line goes slack, the line is gonna drop and it's right over the tire. So if you don't have a line protector, it's just gonna rub on the line, and it also increases your chances of running over the line and getting tangled up and coming to a sudden and abrupt stop. All right, these are my 2 harnesses that I have here. This purple one is from Black Ice Outfitters. They're great. I've had this harness over 2 years. You can tell it's furry, but it's holding up great. This part here is still great. That's like where the padding comes together. You do want to use a padded harness. Plain nylon ones can rub off their fur and it's not as comfortable. If you have a really short-haired dog, you might be able to get away with using just plain nylon, but I really recommend you get a padded one to make it more comfortable for the dog. And this harness is from Alpine Outfitters, like the line is. This one's pretty new, so apart from being furry, it's still in excellent shape. And when you order your line, you also get a neck piece here. This is to go between the 2 dogs' collars if you're running multiple dogs. That's really important, otherwise they can split really wide, and they'll split going around a post or people or anything you're trying to pass, and that's not a good thing. Okay, so now I'm going to show you real quick how to put this little piece of PVC on the line to protect it. Let me see if this will work if I just set it down. Maybe. Hang on. Okay, putting a little scooter noodle piece on. So this part here, you can take this off. If I remember, yep. You just pull this back loop up over, and that takes the metal clip off, and you just slide this straight on down. Hopefully this is the line where the knot isn't too big. You just have to push it through. Oh, I can show you the bungee part too now. It has a really good amount of stretch in it, but it snaps back real quick too. Really good to have that shock absorption. It's easier on the dogs' bodies and backs. Just stuff that through. There we go. Almost reach it. There we go. And then we get this part back, and then we just stick this through again. So you can see that really well, that you just stick the tip through there, and then that just loops over the clip, and then you just pull it tight down around there. All right. Okay, and then I just stuck a little piece of rope through this, and you want to tie this rope Make sure we're still in view. Yep, okay. You want to tie the rope through the metal clip, through the base of it. Stick both ends through. And let's see, I just loop them around together. Just make one big knot like that. Tighten it up real well. And there you have it. Okay, my bike is upside down now. You don't need to flip it upside down. I just did it so it can be standing, so you can see how I put the head, the post connector on. You see it's just upside down right now. There's the head tube there. So all you're gonna do is take this little piece and you just wrap it around and stick the metal part through the loop and then pull it tight, and it just sits on there just like that. And that's what you then connect the line to, which now has our protector on it. And you want to make sure you don't go around or through any of the brake lines. You don't want those to be pulled on. So find a good spot where it's just going to go straight out and clip onto there. And then you have your line that'll just go straight out in front of you. Okay, I think this video is going to be blurry, but I can't get it to focus. I just wanted to show you how to put the X-Back harness on, and also the Urban Trail harness from Alpine Outfitters. The X-Back harness is best if you want your dog to be pulling non-stop and pulling as hard as it can pull all the time, like as typical for mushing and sledding and stuff like that. The Urban Trail harness is better if your dog's going to be putting some more slack in the lines, not always going to be pulling really hard non-stop. And that's because the X-Back harness is designed to be pulled tight all the time, and if it's not pulled tight, it'll kind of bunch up and it won't fit the dog right. Normally I do this in the garage, but since I'm out here in the sunlight, I have K2's collar on just so she won't get away, but normally they're just in the garage and I don't have their collars on yet because it's easier to get the harnesses on without the collars. Come here, girlie. So the way I do it is, I know, I stand like this just to hold them straight and have them out in front of me, my legs around their hips. When you pick up the harness, you want the top to be on top. And the way I do it is just kind of look through the two holes here that are padded. This is where their body's going to go through. So if you just kind of gather those two holes together into one hole, and you just slip it over her head, push your collar up, and then you pull that part down, and then stick her legs through each hole. And then you really want to make sure everything's straightened out. Like you see here, this part twisted. So you want to untwist that. I always run my hands underneath here and up and back, and then I usually hold their little butts and just give a good tug that way to make sure everything's nice and snug. And then you just hook them up to the line there. She has two on hers. This harness I got from Alpine Outfitters has a longer loop on it than the one from Black Ice, so I just put another piece of rope around it. So when I'm running them together, they can be the same distance. Black Ice one came with the shorter loop here. And with K2, because she is a runner and a bolter, I'm worried that if her line ever broke, she could get out. So sometimes I'll put an extra like carabiner loop on here, or I really recommend that you have something like this. This is just two carabiners. This little piece came with a flexi lead I got, so I just put two carabiners through it. That way if something ever happens to your neckline, or if you just need to add some distance, take up some distance, these are really versatile to use. And when you take the harness off, you want to loosen it a little first, so I just kind of bunch it up like that, and take the paws out first. And you want to make sure you're going all the way under that strap here. This one here, if their paw's through here, sometimes you can put it in and put it through their neck hole and see if their paw didn't actually come out. So make sure you're lifting their paw. I lift it by this part of their paw right here. Just pull their leg all the way up, get their paw through, and then slide it down. Okay, and then I bunch it up so the two loops are together. And again, easier if the collar's off first. And just pop it over her head. Okay. And now for the Urban Trail harness. This one doesn't extend all the way down to their back. It just looks looks like this. So this little metal ring is going to be at the very back part. This part's at their neck, this part's further down their back. So you just put that straight on their shoulders and put one leg through, and then the neck part wraps around and clips, and then same under their belly, wraps around and clips. And this one's the adjustable harness. So you want to make sure you tighten up. You want to make sure you tighten this part up around their bellies. It has this part to hold any extra bit. So tighten it up there, and then also tighten it around their neck. This also has bits underneath. This part here will slide back and forth to adjust, as well as this part at their neck, to make sure this part is straight down between their legs. If it's crooked, the harness is going to pull to the side, and it's not going to be very comfortable for the dog. Thank you, Miss Katie. Okay, I think that's it for the mushing. Make sure when you head out that you're always facing the way you want to go. That way the dogs don't think you're going left when you really want to go right, or if you need to flip around right away, that's not a good start for the dog. So always make sure that you're facing the way you actually want to go. Let's see, when we first start out, I say line out, and that just means to pull the line tight, not to really start running and pulling it, but just to hold the line tight. And that command is usually taught very first. It's one of the first things dogs learn, is just how to hold the line tight. After that, I say hike, 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 really excitedly, just get them up and going, and then we're off. And usually at first, dogs take off like a rocket, so really be ready for that. They usually run full speed for a bit, and then they'll kind of slow down into a trotting or pacing speed. For turning right, I say G, and left is haw. Those are the typical commands that mushers use. You can use any commands you want. You can say right and left if you want. I like G and haw because they're short, they don't sound like anything else. And for stopping, I say whoa. Denali, my white husky, will actually stop when I say whoa. K2 doesn't really quite yet. So make sure you use your brakes. Use your brakes whenever you need to. If the line's getting slack, brake. If you want to go right and they're trying to go left, just brake before you get to the turn and kind of go, come on guys, and start turning your bike and start going the way that you want to go, to get them to follow you. And then when they start to go the way you wanted, yay, awesome, good dogs. You never want to be yanking on them and trying to force them to go the way you want to go. You can kind of lead them, but you don't want to be yanking them and dragging them along. That's not very fun for the dogs. See, I don't think there's anything else, so let me know if you have any questions. One last thing I forgot, and again, it's blurry. I'm not sure why. I can't get it to fix. But you never want to run over the line, and I'll show you why not. So your line's supposed to always be straight out tight. If it gets under the tire, like this, if it goes slack and you run over it, first off, this piece of PVC is going to get caught like this. And remember, your dogs are still pulling tight this way. And the whole thing is going to get wrapped up like this. And you're going to come to a very sudden stop. It can also end up wrapping around the spokes or like around this part. So you're going to stop very suddenly. It's not going to be fun for anybody. So you always want to make sure the line is tight. Pretty much if it's loose enough that you can hear the tire scraping on the scooter noodle piece, then you need to brake and slow down. Urban mushing is something where you really need to go the speed of the dog, because if you try to go faster, it's not going to work. Your dog can only run so fast. You need to respect your dog's speed. So yeah, just don't run over it. Let me show you again. That just goes right under, and your dogs are still pulling forward. And see how it all just wraps up? And that's not even a full tire rotation to get like that. It happens very quickly. So just make sure the line's always out front. Okay?